Welcome to a discussion regarding whether you should take or refuse the breathalyzer test in Louisiana, presented by attorney Carl Barkemeyer. Now, I've decided to address this issue and try to answer this question the best I can because it is a question that, as a DWI lawyer, I get quite frequently. Unfortunately, there is no perfect answer here. My best guess is that the legislature intended to make it difficult simply by making the penalty for refusing the breathalyzer so extreme. But what I'm going to do here is provide some important considerations that should be thought about, if you are in fact pulled over and arrested for a DWI. Now, as soon as that you are pulled over, as soon as the officer sees the traffic violation for which he's pulling you over, he is basically obtaining evidence of you by observing the way that you talk, the way that you smell, and the way that you walk. All these observations can be used against you at your trial for DWI in criminal court. Additionally, the officer will ask you to perform field sobriety tests and eventually the breathalyzer test. So if you submit to the breathalyzer and you blow over the legal limit of 0.08, if you're over the age of 21, then you're looking at 90 days for suspended license. So DMV will suspend your license for 90 days for the submittal. This is for the first submittal, so prior submittals, refusals, DWI arrests, and DWI convictions will be considered by the DMV to determine the appropriate length of the suspension. So everybody's case is different. Now, if you refuse the breathalyzer, upon a first refusal, you're looking at 1 year suspended license by the DMV. Once again, the DMV will consider prior refusals, submittals, DWI arrests, and or convictions in determining the appropriate length of the suspension. So the benefit to refusing the breathalyzer, well, it's that it could help you in your criminal case because you basically have two cases. You got your license case, which you do with the DMV, Department of Public Safety and Corrections, and then your case in actual criminal court, where there's a judge and there's a prosecutor prosecuting you for DWI, trying to prove DWI. So if you refuse the breathalyzer, well, that's just one less piece of evidence that the prosecutor has to try to prove beyond a reasonable doubt your guilt as to a DWI. So what are the risks for refusing? Like we said earlier, you can lose your license, it can be suspended. But you can also be looking at expensive insurance, SR22 insurance. You may have to get a blow and go installed in your vehicle to obtain a hardship license. And the refusals are enhanceable, meaning that the more refusals you get, they build on each other. And so the length of time for suspension increases. And you may still get convicted of the actual DWI itself in criminal court. Simply refusing the breathalyzer does not mean that you're gonna beat the DWI. So you can still be convicted based on the officer's observations. If there, whether or not there's video is going to be very important. The field sobriety test, other factors are involved. So that leaves us at basically weighing the considerations. To sum up, refusal may help your court case, but the refusal may be expensive and burdensome. Every case is different. The way it needs to be approached is that every case has different facts. The stop is different. And the circumstances are different for every defendant. So all these factors have to be weighed to determine whether or not someone should take or refuse the breathalyzer. Really, we're just going to be looking at it in hindsight, though, once they come to me, because it's already happened. So this is not intended to be formal legal advice. If you get a charge for DWI, I strongly suggest that you hire an attorney who can help you with figuring out your driver's license and figuring out hardship licenses and how and helping you through the system and how to beat the DWI.